When I first came across Orb Strategies, I honestly didn't know what to expect. At least, the website looked like plenty of other consulting firms I had seen before. But after spending some time navigating through the pages and actually tasting the way they present their services, I realized it wasn't quite the same. What stood out was how they constantly try to link strategy, technology, and security, rather than presenting them as separate boxes on a list. I started digging into the services, and the list was long. Growth planning, consulting, cybersecurity, a lot of data-driven approaches. At first, it felt overwhelming, like maybe too much. But then I noticed how Orb Strategy talks about workflow instead of static products. That shift matters. It gave me the sense that they are pushing clients to see the services not as a single one-time task, but as a part of ongoing process. That said, the downside is obvious. If someone only wants a very specific tool, scrolling through such a wide catalog can feel confusing. Then I checked the Why Orb Strategies section, and the message there is about clarify and customization. They don't claim to hand you generic reports, which is something many companies do. Instead, they stress the strategy should be co-created, adapted to the context of each client. That part resonated with me because it felt more realistic than selling on a one-size-fits-all model. They also make a point about experience, through not in year of flashy numbers, more in terms of variety, the range of projects they've handled. On the one hand, it's reassuring, but on the other, the language can get a bit abstract. Sí, te pusiste la mano y... no.
On the other.
Bien. On the other hand, it's reassuring, but no. On the one. Pues para, listo, pensé que había quedado en lo otro. Bien, déjalo ahí. On the one hand, it's reassuring, but on the other, the language can get a bit abstract. Security was another element I wanted to understand. Too many firms treat it as an afterthought, just a checkbox at the end. Orb Strategies actually dedicates a full section to it. They talk about encryption, checks, resilience, but more than that, they frame security as something cultural, part of the structure itself. That makes sense to me. If you're relying on sensitive information, trusting the first thing you need. At the same time, I can imagine some clients rolling their eyes at the psychological tone, because not everyone wants to read about trust frameworks. Some just want to know the hard facts about how their data is protected. In the end, my takeaway of Orb Strategy is mixed at the best, but it leans positively. It's not a perfect alignment, it is not a minimalistic offering, but it's consistent. For me, that was the strongest impression that I took from Orb Strategies, and it was about consistency, with all the offering, methodology, and certainty. So, in the end, my impression of Orb Strategy is mixed, but leaning positive. It's not perfect, it's not minimalistic, but it's consistent. For me, that consistency across services, methodology, and security, it was left the strongest impression.